3 hours ago, the wind was viciously blowing from the left field foul pole over to right. Now it appears to be blowing a little bit more out towards center, and it blew straight out last night. Let's check in on the highlights of Game 2 of this series. And with Chris Spire filling in for Dusty Baker, and we'll have an update on Dusty coming up. The Reds took an early lead on Joey Votto's RBI double in the first inning, his 40th double of the season, tying his career high. In fact, that was his first RBI since coming off the disabled list. They would then add to their lead in the third inning. There he is again. Votto with an opposite field base hit. 2-run score. They would add on Ryan Ludwig with a base hit in the left. That made it 4-0. The lead would stretch to 5-zip in the fifth. The Cubs in the bottom of the sixth would get a big 2-run homer from Alfonso Soriano, the 30th of his career, 6th time he's hit 30. Cubs inching back 5-3. Now Luis Valbuena with a double. Cubs within one. Unfortunately got caught napping out at second base, picked off to end the inning. Cubs remain down 1. They would tie it up, however, in the bottom of the 8th. Wellington Castillo taking ball 4 high with the bases loaded. That forced in the game-tying run. It would stay tied until the 11th. Brandon Phillips with 2 outs. Lazy fly ball, but the wind playing tricks with it. And David DeJesus overruns it. Phillips at second base for Drew Stubbs, who had a huge night. From the 2 spot, 3 hits, including the game-winning RBI single in the 11th. And the final in 11, Reds 6, Cubs 5. Again, Stubbs scored 3 runs on the night. The bullpen was very good. Really, both bullpens did a nice job, but the Reds beat the Cubs for the 2nd consecutive day. And coming up today, Johnny Cueto and Jason Birkin, and we'll chat with Patrick Mooney from CSNChicago.com when we come back. Welcome back to Wrigley Field as the Cubs try to avoid the sweep today as they take on Johnny Cueto and the Cincinnati Reds. And great to have with us Patrick Mooney, who covers the Cubs beat for CSNChicago.com. Patrick, still a couple of weeks to go. I think the things we found out this year, Jeff Samardzija has the potential to be a top of the rotation guy. Anthony Rizzo at first base, Darwin Barney at second, Starlin Castro at short, but everything else still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, you got some nice pieces in place, Len. I think these last couple of weeks you want to find out about certain guys, whether you can count on them heading into opening day. And I think we've talked about this, it seems like, for weeks now, but it's Brett Jackson, I think, is that guy who has something to prove these last couple of weeks and across the winter.
And Josh Vitters may get some more playing time after this weekend, the final 9 games against non-contenders, unless Arizona all of a sudden wins 10 in a row. But he's got a lot to prove as well, and third base is going to be a very interesting spot over the winter.
Yeah, Dale signaled that he's pretty much going to play Vitters, when they're playing teams out of contention, when they go to Colorado and Arizona. And it seems like with Vitters, they kind of had a much shorter leash with him, that he got some playing time when they called him up in August, and for whatever reason, I think they want to see more defense. They want to see a better approach at the plate, and they just haven't seen it yet. And it's really hard to see them, penciling him into an opening day roster next year. Although he is still young, he's a high draft pick. There is upside there, but in terms of that short time frame window, I don't really see that happening quite yet.
Travis Wood has done a pretty good job, ideally probably a 4 or a 5. We mentioned Samardzija. Garza probably returns and hopefully is healthy into spring training. Chris Volstad fits in there somewhere. But I think when the Cubs look at their starting pitching prospects, those guys probably aren't here yet. But in the bullpen, there have been some intriguing arms. Jay Chapman, Alberto Cabrera, and maybe Rafael Dolis.
Yeah, maybe some of these guys that haven't quite worked out as starters down the line, they can slide into a bullpen role. And I think they're definitely going to get some stopgap guys for the rotation. But these guys that are auditioning at the back end, you could see. Dale always talks about Chapman. He really likes his makeup, what he's done so far. Michael Bowden's had a nice kind of run after coming up from AAA Iowa. So you start with Marmol, you have Russell and Camp, and then maybe you can fill in a couple of gaps here with whoever steps up in the last couple of weeks.
The big news yesterday, the Cubs have moved their low A affiliate to Kane County, which is in Geneva, about 45 miles away. So it not only gives Theo and Jed and maybe even Dale on an off day a chance to see some prospects. Maybe even you can drive over there on a day off, right?
Yeah, maybe they can start selling Jorge Soler jerseys over there. But I think really the most interesting pieces in that system are probably going to either start at Kane County or head through there at some point next year. So if you're a Cubs fan wanting a glimpse of the future, that's going to be the place to be.
Always a pleasure, Patrick Mooney. Check out his Cubs work at CSNChicago.com. We're getting set for Cubs baseball. It'll be right-hander Jason Birkin with his second start as a Cub. Johnny Cueto tries to end a 3-game losing streak. We'll be back.
of the NBC Sports Group.
Another beautiful mid-September afternoon here in Chicago as the Cubs continue their long homestand today. They dropped their last 3 in a row. They try to avoid the sweep against the Cincinnati Reds in the final game of this season series. And hi again, everyone. Alongside Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. The Reds' magic number down to 3. They have their ace on the mound today, Johnny Cueto. I don't think they're too concerned, but he hasn't won this month.
Doesn't look like they're too concerned with the team they put behind Johnny Cueto on the mound today, but he's got his catcher Ryan Hannigan behind the plate. Those two guys have worked extremely well together. We use the word flashy when we talk about the Reds and some of the players on their roster, and certainly it applies to Johnny Cueto, but don't let the flash fool you. This guy can really pitch. Has 3+ pitches, a tremendous competitor out there on the mound, and even though he's lost his last 3 and looked bad doing it, he still ranks 5th in the National League in ERA with his 17 victories.
And 3 starts against the Cubs this year, and he's won all 3 of those outings. Right-hander Jason Birkin will get the nod for the Cubs, and while they did score 5 runs last night, I'd like to see them get a win. It seems like everything kind of turned with that late night Monday.
Yeah, everything just kind of fell off kilter for the next couple of days. I think Dale Swain would just like to see better at-bats, more consistent at-bats, especially situational hitting. And if you do those kind of things, you will score some more runs.
Let's go down to the field. They're set for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise. Kindly remove your caps and join Wayne Messmer, accompanied by Gary Pressey at the Lowry organ, as they honor America with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The great Wayne Messmer getting you set for Cubs baseball. 16th and final game between the Reds and the Cubs. We'll have it all for you coming up next.
Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? Toyota. Right now, you can get a lot for less at your local Toyota dealer, official partner of the Chicago Cubs. The new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. BMO Harris Bank. Helping money make sense. BMO Harris Bank. NA member FDIC. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
We're wondering if that's the home run ball hit by Alfonso Soriano last night. The 30th of the season for him. Back here at Wrigley Field for a Thursday matinee. The Cardinals come in tomorrow for the weekend. And the Cubs will have their final road trip of the season at Colorado and Arizona. Let's take a look around MLB. And there is some early action today. We will keep you posted, especially on that Cardinal game. They lead the Astros 3-1 in the second. Matt Cain, 15 wins, a career high. Nice performance against the Rockies. Derek Jeter with his 200th hit of the season. That's his 8th 200 hit campaign, tying Lou Gehrig. And Ryan Howard with a big game-winning home run against the Mets yesterday. Phillies still hanging around in the wild card race. And Bob, we have to mention the Cardiac Kids, the Baltimore Orioles, a 3-1 winner in 11 innings at Seattle. Adam Jones with a 2-run homer in the 11th. So Baltimore has now won 15 consecutive extra innings games. They played 18 innings the night before.
Go figure. Adam Jones, his 30th homer this season, is 4th in extra innings this year. But it doesn't matter how you get it done at the end of the season. You just have to get there, and the Orioles look like they have every intention of battling the Yankees right down to the wire for that division title.
We have an update on Dusty Baker. He missed the game last night, went to the hospital to get some chest x-rays. They wanted to rule out pneumonia. He has an irregular heartbeat, has a history of that. He is still in the hospital today. He's feeling good. Doctors want to continue to monitor him, and the plan is that he will fly to Cincinnati tomorrow, so bench coach Chris Spire will manage the Reds again today.
Well, that's good news for Dusty. I'm sure he's anxious to get back in that dugout and lead his team to the division title and on into the postseason. It's not quite the same without Dusty here.
They will host the Dodgers starting tomorrow night at Great American Ballpark. So right-hander Jason Birkin will face this Red Southwest starting lineup. Not one starter from their lineup last night is in today's batting order. Hall in left, Cairo at first, Henry Rodriguez and Dennis Phipps making their first big league starts. You've got Todd Frazier with his first action in the series and huge numbers against the Cubs. Heisey in right. Remember Hannigan, the big 3-run double he hit on Tuesday. D.D. Gregorius is at short, and the pitcher Cueto bats ninth.
Yeah, the Reds' other split squad is playing in Cincinnati today. LaHair in left, DeJesus in center, Sapelt in right today. Balbuena, Castro, Barney, Rizzo third to first across the infield. Wellington Castillo behind the plate today. A right-hander Jason Birkin. First outing against the Pirates, not exactly what he had envisioned. The team made a couple of errors behind him. He had one really bad inning in the fourth. See his numbers on the season combined with the Baltimore Orioles and the Cubs.
That's Mike Everett. Laz Diaz at first. Tim Welke, the crew chief, at second. Paul Schreiber will work third. Another late night last night as the Cubs lost in 11 innings. And, I just think Dale would like to see things tighten up a little bit. Cubs have dropped their last 3 in a row, now 2-4 on the homestand.
It's a very easy thing to do with a lot of young players still learning the ropes here at the major league level, to get so involved in your own situation and your own at-bats and your own innings pitched out there on the mound. But sometimes you have to step back and take a look at the big picture. What does my team need me to do here? What do I need to do in this at-bat to help my team score a run? as opposed to what do I need to do to get a hit.
So Paul will lead it off, and a big part of their success off the bench is a pinch hitter. And he's playing left today, and we are underway. Ball one inside on a fastball. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Mild temperature, 68. And a southwest wind at 11. Again, blowing straight out to center. I was talking with Alfonso Soriano about the wind last night. He said up high it was blowing straight out, but he felt like it was swirling down near field level.
Well, the reaction of some of the defensive players in the ball game last night, some of the pop-ups and low liners that we saw hit, that would seem to be the case. The ball just didn't carry the way we expected it to.
Will get out of play behind the Cub bullpen. Soriano getting the day off after hitting number 30 last night. He's in a pretty heated RBI race in the National League. He is one behind Ryan Braun and Chase Headley for the league lead. See, Birkin does not really move that back foot at all. He's got it planted where he pushes off as he starts his windup. Six feet, 205 pounds, from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Attended Clemson and was a 6th round draft pick of the Orioles in September, or in 2006. He'll take care of Paul for the first out. Now Miguel Cairo.
I was going to say a better start already than his last outing against the Pirates. He drilled Starling Marte to start the game. There was an error in the inning. The Pirates took a 1-0 lead in the first inning. Also gave up a run in the second on a string of 3 singles, a solo homer in the third, and then, as I mentioned before, the wheels kind of fell off in the 5th inning, also aided by an error on Josh Vitters.
Cairo playing first as he pops it up, foul territory over near the Reds dugout. And Rizzo and Castillo got there. Nobody got a glove on it.
It looked like Castillo gave way a little bit, expecting Rizzo to come in and make the play. He had a little bit further to run on that play, couldn't quite get there. That one needs to be caught by somebody.
And Cairo with new life picks up a base hit.
The way that ball feathered out there in shallow left center field looked like super slow motion. Defied gravity as it just hung in the air long enough to get over Starlin Castro and in front of the outfielders.
I would assume Chris Spire talked, or at least got word from Dusty Baker about the lineup today. Even though I guess Chris said he talked to a friend of Dusty's to get an update on his situation. But how about Henry Rodriguez's first major league start? And he's hitting third.
Some teams call it the bomb squad, the killer bees, whatever you want to call it, the day game after a night game lineup. But the fact that Henry Rodriguez is a switch hitter, he kind of fits into that 3 spot in the lineup, can break up some of the right-handed hitters. Something to be able to tell his grandkids. His first start in the major leagues, he hit third for the Big Red Machine of 2012.
2-0 the count. Well, 3-0.
Well, even though it's not the Reds' normal offensive lineup, you still have to look up and down and pick a couple guys that perhaps you don't want to let beat you in this ball game, and one of them is standing in that on deck circle. Todd Frazier has hurt the Cubs a bunch already this year. You know he's chomping at the bit to get some at bats. He hasn't played in the first 2 games of this series. Got to watch out for that, man. Try to limit the base runners in front of him.
You know, it's altogether possible Jason Birkin has faced a few of these Reds hitters at AAA in the International League as Rodriguez draws the walk. Louisville and Norfolk will participate in the International League. That's where Birkin had spent most of his season, at Norfolk. And now it's Frazier hitting .500 against the Cubs. And the pitch. Big swing and a miss. Rookie of the Year candidate in the National League along with his teammate Zach Cozart. Anthony Rizzo in that mix. One and one.
Frazier, a really good low ball hitter. We saw that at Great American Ballpark the last time the Cubs were in there. Breaking balls, fastballs, doesn't matter. He likes them a lot like Alfonso Soriano, down there around the knees, maybe a little bit lower.
He's gone 11 for 17 with 3 doubles, a triple, a homer, and 7 RBIs at Wrigley Field in 19 plate appearances this season. Popped into center. David DeJesus. 2 hands on it. And 2 down. Here comes Chris Heisey playing right. You know, the other way to look at their lineup today, they've got a pretty good bench too.
Yeah, I would say so. You have Jay Bruce and Joey Votto available from the left side. Ryan Ludwig, Brandon Phillips, Scott Rowland, Drew Stubbs available from the right side. That's a pretty strong bench.
Is he very upright in the batter's box? Dave Sapelt in right. And the inning is over. A single, a walk, no runs. Reds do not score, and the Cubs are coming up against Cy Young contender Johnny Cueto. Cueto trying to figure him out. They've lost all 3 of his starts against the Cubs. DeJesus in center today. Brett Jackson gets a day off. Barney ended his long hitting streak last night. Rizzo, LaHare with his first start this season in left. Starlin Castro 4 hits in the ball game last night. Valbuena's at third. Castillo catches. Dave Sapelt in right, and Birkin, the pitcher, hitting ninth.
Here's how the Reds will line it up defensively this afternoon. Paul, Phipps, and Heisey left to right across the outfield. Frazier, Gregorius, Rodriguez, and Cairo third to first across the infield. The only semblance of a regular is Ryan Hannigan behind the plate for right-hander Johnny Cueto.
His first pitch. This is outside to DeJesus.
Fastball, slider, changeup combination. You'll see an occasional cutter, but that changeup can be devastating when he's feeling it on a given day.
31st start of the season. That ties his career high. He's done 2 other times. 17 wins, 197 innings. Both career highs. He'll go over the 200 mark here today. 1 strikeout away from his career best of 158 in 2008. 2-1.
Mentioned earlier that he'd lost his last 3 starts, and over those 3 starts, a total of 15 1/3 innings pitched. He'd given up 26 hits, 14 runs, 4 homers. Now, he didn't get much support from his offense, but very uncharacteristic numbers for Cueto from what we've seen this year.
Lifted in the air, left center. It'll be caught by Phipps, the center fielder. Now, you jokingly mentioned the split squad Reds today, but it does have that feel. I'm sure the last time the Reds had a lineup like this, they were playing somebody in Goodyear, not at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Well, it's a luxury that the Reds have with an 11-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. Day game after a night game gives some of your veteran regulars a day off. These guys want to show what they can do. You know you're going to get a supreme effort from the guys that don't get to play very often when they are in that lineup.
Here's the 0-1 to Darwin Barney. Fouled away. His career high and Cubs season high 13-game hitting streak ended last night. And his strikeout-less streak ended as well. He went 55 consecutive plate appearances without a strikeout before punching out in the 9th inning.
Kind of something odd there on the previous pitch to Ryan Hannigan. I'm not sure exactly what happened back there, but home plate umpire Mike Everett leaned over in his ear and kind of patted him on the back to ask him if he was okay. Maybe just lost his balance momentarily. It's not always easy to balance on the balls of your feet back there the way catchers have to do, but this looked very odd, but it seems to be okay now.
Cueto, one of the elite guys, 4th best ERA over the last 2 years at 2.65. Charged by Gregorius.
It just seems odd to say that with an ERA of 2.92 going into play today, that's as high as it's been for 2 years. That's really amazing. And we always throw out the qualifier given the fact that he pitches half his games at Great American Ballpark. Very hitter-friendly stadium.
Pitch to Anthony Rizzo is outside. Well, this next time through the rotation, Bronson Arroyo and Mike Leake will each make their 30th starts of the season. Homer Bailey, Cueto, and Matt Latos have already reached 30, and according to Elias, only 7 staffs in the history of baseball have had 5 pitchers with at least 30 starts. The last was the 06 White Sox. A rainbow to left, And it's Hall to make the catch, and Cueto goes 1-2-3 in the first inning. We are scoreless from Wrigley. Caitlin August, Mike Bowles, Steve Brower, Zach Conte, Megan Cornish, Alexa Ellis, Jeff Greenberg, Jack Kilheffer, Kate Munson, Molly Olerich, Amanda Schutt, Melanie Thompson, and Paige Thompson. Special thanks to Caitlin August from us, because she gives us all the information on the 7th inning stretch guests.
A regular visitor.
And today it is Chicago native and actor Michael Madsen. Called strike on Dennis Phipps. He bounces foul right to Mark Berry, the third base coach. First career start for Phipps. Major League debut came back on the 3rd of this month. Had a good spring training with the Reds at 316. Got him at the knees on a fastball.
Talk about a pitcher getting a downhill plane. Really got on top of that fastball. Some good tailing action right at the knees. Nicely done.
Bring up Hannigan. Big 3-run double, a game winner on Tuesday. Came in the 6th inning.
Well, you know, Glenn, a lot of hitters in the batter's box, the movements that they make are very subtle. You know, dropping their hands down into a good hitting slot. Hannigan jerks his hands down into that hitting slot right there. Takes him from shoulder high down to about the middle of his chest. It's the timing mechanism that he uses. Most hitters prefer to smooth things out, make it much more subtle, but been working for Ryan Hannigan lately, so imagine we're going to see a lot more of it the rest of the way.
Big game in Detroit today. Tigers leading the A's 3-2 in the 5th. Detroit now within 2 of the White Sox, who play in Kansas City later tonight. Tigers have been lights out at home here lately. Hannigan didn't run at first and then realized that ball might be fair. It was just foul.
He got fooled by the Birkin pitch, kind of rolled over, hit that grounder right down the third base line. Yeah, it didn't break immediately out of the box, but fortunately for him and unfortunately for the Cubs, it ends up in foul territory. It's funny, Len. Sometimes when the ace of a staff pitches, especially the guys who are considered divas, they get offended when you run a lineup like this behind him. I'm speaking of Johnny Cueto now, with a lot of the killer bees on the field behind him. I don't think he cares.
Yeah, Bobby Cox did it a fair amount with Greg Maddux on the Sunday. He'd run out 4 or 5 bench guys. If you're going to do it, though, do it with your ace. Gives you a chance to win. And as you said, they'll play hard. I think the most interesting part of the Reds lineup today is that they can put that lineup out there. The Cubs really could not, as Hannigan swung at a terrible pitch and is going to reach anyway. That ball was way over in the left-handed batter's box, but he swung at it, got past Castillo on a wild pitch, and he's aboard.
Wow. What a fortuitous at bat for Ryan Hannigan. Hit a ground ball down the third base line, didn't run, it went foul for him, and then swings at that pitch in the left-handed batter's box and still ends up reaching on a strikeout.
Didi Gregorius, left-handed hitting shortstop. Now, the Cubs have to put out a representative lineup because they're playing a team trying to clinch a playoff spot. And in fairness to all the other teams battling the Reds, Dale would not put out there 8 position players who are not generally starters. But the Reds have 90 wins. They can do whatever they want. Now that will change for Dale on Monday, or Tuesday rather, in Denver. In fact, the final 9 games against non-contenders. Although Arizona, I guess, still on the outskirts of the wild card race. Right now 4.5 back of St. Louis, but a bunch of teams ahead of them. Cueto on deck. Working with a quick look at Hannigan. And that one fouled away. Hey, we want to mention the annual Knights of Columbus trip. Big group from Granger, Indiana is here. Led by Chairman Joe Stakowitz. 57 members of the Knights of Columbus here at Wrigley today. Get a nice note from Joe, and his group's heading in. He's 91 years old. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Birkin has 3 strikeouts in the inning. That's the second out.
Emphatic automatic strike call behind home plate by Mike Everett. A little tailing fastball in his estimation. It got back to that inside corner. I don't think Gregorius necessarily agrees. We talk about depth at a position. Zach Cozart, as you mentioned earlier, legitimate Rookie of the Year candidate at shortstop for the Reds in the big leagues this year. Didi Gregorius was the 6th rated prospect in the Reds organization as a minor league shortstop. We've talked about Billy Hamilton this season. Over 150 stolen bases in the minor leagues this year. All shortstops. Not out of the question that one or more of those guys could possibly change positions, but if you're shopping for a young shortstop, I think I know which aisle I'd go down.
Cueto swings and misses, and that ends the inning. A 4-strikeout second inning for Jason Birkin. $88019 right now for your chance to win an authentic game-worn jersey from the Cubs. And be sure to go to Cubs.com/authentics. Jason Birkin, the 2nd pitcher in baseball this year to have a 4-strikeout inning. Bud Norris of the Astros did it back in April. Ryan LaHare will lead off for the Cubs. First start of the season in left for LaHare. His other starts in the outfield had come in right.
The throws are a little bit shorter from left field, and I think Gale and his staff feel that Dave Chappelle has the stronger throwing arm from the outfield, so they slide LaHare over to the left field corner in place of Alfonso Soriano today.
Ryan Dempster, the last Cub to strike out 4 in an inning back in 2009. 5th inning versus Arizona. Kerry Wood, Bill Bonham, Jim Davis also on that Cubs list. I guess Carey, one time pitching to Todd Hundley, almost struck out 5 in an inning. Good segue. Carey Wood Appreciation Day coming up Sunday. First 20,000 fans who enter the ballpark get a commemorative Carey Wood poster courtesy of Advocate Healthcare. Carey's son Justin will throw out the ceremonial first pitch to his dad. And the entire Wood family will sing the 7th inning stretch. I should note, Burkin, the second National League pitcher to do it this year. 3 American League pitchers have done it. Ryan Cook, Francisco Liriano, and Steve Delabar. It's not as rare as you would think.
I'm not sure whether it's more of a testament to the good stuff that the pitcher has on a given day or having a bad catcher behind the plate. Maybe a combination of the two.
So it depends on the day.
Yeah.
LaHare has worked a full count, 3-2. Strike 3.
Wow. It'll be one of those days. Real wide zone in the early going. This is a cut fastball. Never does get back to the outside corner. Hannigan pulls it over, tries to make it look better. A good take. I don't even consider that a borderline pitch. Normally I would say that the hitter's got to be a little more defensive in a 2-strike count, but he saw that ball well off the plate.
Starlin Castro now with 5 consecutive hits going back to last night. It's the first Cub hit.
Starlin had been only 4 for 24 against Johnny Cueto before this at bat. Usually when a guy has numbers like that against an opposing pitcher, you do a little extra homework before the next time you face him. Starlin Castro, I'm sure, has looked at some videotape, talked about his previous at bats, and that time jumps on the first delivery for a clean single into center.
One strike to Valbuena. Pitch. Hot foul. Thanks to Cubs radio producer and engineer Matt Bolts for sending this along. He checked out Wikipedia, which reports that while nobody's ever struck out 5 in an inning in a regular season game, it's happened a few times in the minor leagues. And apparently knuckleballer Joe Niekro, there's Matt Bolts, master of research, struck out 5 in a spring training game when he was with the Houston Astros. So there you have it.
So Bolts is now the master of research?
Yes.
He'll be glad to hear that. I'm not the master of research, but I've done a little bit of research on Johnny Cueto today, Len. I got to tell you, you look a little deeper into his numbers, it just gets even more and more impressive. We like to talk a lot about vulnerable counts when a hitter gets into a 2-0 or a 3-1 count where you can take a very aggressive swing. 2-0 counts this year, opposing hitters are batting .241, slugging .329. When the count goes to 3-1, the batting average is .200, the slugging percentage is .300. Those are unbelievable numbers when the hitter is in a very aggressive swinging count.
Listed at just 5'10", 214 pounds. And he's only 26.
Just about to say he leads this Red staff with 7 pickoffs on the year too. Very quick feet, snap throw to first that time, chasing Castro back to the bag.
And there's number 8. Two down.
Got him leaning the wrong way ever so slightly. Just a flinch was all it was, but perfect throw right on the bag to Miguel Cairo. Tell you what, you give Johnny Cueto a lot of credit. He actually set up that pickoff. Now, granted, Castro was leaning a little bit towards second base, but the first pickoff attempt over there wasn't his best move. It was a decent pickoff move, but it wasn't his best move. And when Castro took that extra half step on his lead, that's when Cueto broke out the good one.
So Valbuena takes a walk now. Wellington Castillo, the catcher, he took a bases loaded walk in the 8th inning last night to tie the game. Fortunately, with a chance to win the game in the 10th, second and third one out, he struck out. Didn't shorten up, took some vicious cuts.
Fell down to a back knee on one of his swings.
I would imagine the conversation between a hitting coach and player after a night like that would be, so what's your thought process? Talk through it. That's all he needed last night. As he singles into center. A nice fluid swing, didn't overswing. Inning still alive for Sapelt.
That old cliche, we hear it all the time, trying to do too much. Everybody wants to be the hero, the guy that hits the game-winning walk-off home run, when sometimes all it takes is a broken bat ground ball up the middle of the field to win a game.
Eighth start in right for Sapelt. On the inside for a strike. A reminder, Saturday's game 2 against the Cardinals will start at 12:05 p.m. 12:05 first pitch on Saturday. Your game ticket likely says TBD on the game time, but it is 12:05. The thing about the Reds, when you look at their starting rotation, even around the diamond, the window isn't necessarily going to close after this season. Got a pretty young starting staff, with the exception of Bronson Arroyo. Mike Leake, Matt Latos just 24. Homer Bailey and Johnny Cueto are 26. Arroyo is 35. I guess they could call that rotation. 4 kids and a goat.
Yeah, Bronson Arroyo, though, he's an amazing guy. He just continues to pitch. He takes the ball every 5th day. He eats up a lot of innings. Seems to always keep the Reds in a ball game, give them a chance to win. Does give up a boatload of home runs, but for the most part limits the damage because he doesn't walk a lot of guys.
There's ball 4 to load him up. Good job by Suppelt after an 0-2 start. At the very least, it'll get Birkin to the plate. And who knows, maybe he'll get his first big league hit. He's 0 for 2 lifetime. Or AT&T UVerse Multiview. Cubs have him loaded. Cueto helping himself in this inning by picking off Starlin Castro. 0-2.
And notice how the velocities have spiked here with the bases loaded going against the opposing pitcher. Cueto was pitching in the low 90s with his fastball, but now in a jam we've seen 95 and 94 on the last 2 pitches. 93 down below the bottom of the zone that time. He's a little bit like Justin Verlander in that he establishes a fastball velocity early in the game, usually in the low 90s, between 90 and 93, and he'll cruise along at that velocity until later in the game or until he really needs to reach back and get his good fastball, and then he can get it up in the mid to upper 90s.
Throw to second just in time to get Suppelt, and that ends the inning. Cubs leave him loaded. No score after 2.
Freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago Cubs. For more information, visit Cubs.com/StubHub.
First Cub game today. Trying to end a 3-game losing streak. Make it a little harder on the Reds to clinch. The magic number is 3 in the division. Just a matter of time at this point, with still a couple of weeks to go. So Jason Birkin will face the top of the Reds lineup.
So far so good. First time through, only 1 base hit surrendered that first time through. The Miguel Cairo soft liner just over the head of Starlin Castro. The real highlight, however, the 4 punch outs in the second inning.
Yeah. Strike on Paul. Rounded out to the pitcher to start the game. Which was out over the plate and hammered, and DeJesus can't catch it. See Castillo set up toward the inside part of the plate. That pitch was out over the plate and elevated, and Paul crushed it. That's a double.
Well, look where Castillo's glove was as he was reaching up and to his left to catch that pitch, but Xavier Paul intercepted it and drove it to the 400 mark in straightaway center. A good bad ball hitter, just out of the reach of David DeJesus in center.
Brings up Miguel Cairo. Bloop single in the first inning. Cairo making his 16th start of the year at first. He's also made starts at third and second.
And you'll see at least one more effort like that from Miguel Cairo, clearly trying to hit that ball to the right side of the field and move Paul to third base. Miguel Cairo, he's found his niche in the major leagues. Good utility player. You can play him at a variety of positions. He knows his job. Move runners along. Try to pick up some RBIs if you have guys in scoring position. But right now his job is to move that runner to third base. And it takes a real unselfish guy to give away these kind of at bats. And I don't mean give them away by not trying. I mean give them away by knowing that you're probably going to walk away with an 0 for 1, but it's going to set it up for the guy behind you in the batting order.
And has a sign from his catcher. And the pitch inside. Looked like Cairo was very willing to let that ball hit him.
If he were going to change his approach, this would be the pitch to do it on in the bat. Put that count in your favor, 3-1. Normally a predictable fastball count. You might see him take a little different swing this time.
Off the corner, 3-2.
It's a really effective pitch because of the location of the first 4 pitches in the at bat, all up, some of them out of the strike zone up. Right back and paints that outside corner.
All ready to tag. Sapelt makes a catch. Paul on his way to third. He's in. He overslid the base. Tagged out. That's a double play. Let's see what happened here. Got his feet tangled up.
Is it that tough? Man, we have seen so many guys either overslide the bag or hand comes off, foot comes off, slide right over it on their belly, end up getting tagged out on the other side. Huge break for the Cubs right there.
A 1-0 to Rodriguez. Called strike, 1-1. The pitches have been up for Birkin here in this third inning.
The wind has turned a little bit since we got under play here at Wrigley Field. Seems like more of a crosswind from left to right than the breeze we had blowing straight out earlier in the ball game.
Another deep one to center. This one caught by DeJesus. Leadoff double, but no runs because of the base running gap by Xavier Paul. Still scoreless.
Coming up tonight at 10 on Comcast Sportsnet, the Bears practice update from Hallis Hall and Major League Baseball scores and highlights. Join Mark Shanowski and Susanna Collins for GMC Sportsnet Central tonight at 10 only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Cubs will bat in the third, top of the lineup, starting with DeJesus. Ball one outside. Very defensive problem for him last night. Overran that Brandon Phillips fly ball in the 11th. That kept the inning alive as Drew Stubbs would knock Phillips in with the game winner. Drilled out into center and caught by Phipps. Jesus lines out. He's hit the ball hard a few times the last couple of days. No results. And currently on this homestand, 2 for 20.
A small consolation for David, but he's got the right approach, getting the barrel on the ball more often than not, just not finding those holes right now. It'll turn.
See, Barney has the eye black today. That's old school right there.
Mm-hmm. Grease paint.
The other eye black, the stick-on kind, in the news this week. As Cueto gets Barney. Yunel Escobar serving a team-imposed, I think, 3-game suspension for writing a very inappropriate and offensive phrase on that eye black. It's probably best just to not write anything.
Yeah, what's the point? I think the suspension was just for being stupid.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to notice that.
I don't know better. Jeez. Rizzo out into deep left. That one's going to bang off the door. And he'll have a double. That ball took off the bat of Anthony Rizzo.
Boy, this ball is absolutely clobbered. If he gets a little elevation, that gets up into the bleachers easily. I mean, he bangs that ball off that area near the door in left center field. It just didn't come down, defied gravity, hit right off of that door. So that's a pretty nice play out there in left field just to get a bare hand on that ball by Xavier Paul to keep it from bouncing back toward the infield. Probably put a dent in that door.
So LaHare, who had a long at bat in the second, resulted in a called strike 3 on a pitch that appeared to be out of the zone. A little late on a fastball at 95. Now 1-2.
Bringing snacks from home.
Rizzo with a 2-out double. Now a 1-2 count. Cleanup man, an all-star, Brian LaHare. Playing time has been sporadic the last couple of months. Oakland has jumped ahead of the Tigers 6-4 as they head to the 7th in Detroit, and the Astros have tied the Cardinals 3-3. They're in the 5th. One game has gone final. Cleveland beat Minnesota in 10 innings on a Casey Kochman RBI single in the bottom of the 10th. 4-3 Indians at final. Swing and a miss on a changeup to end the inning. Second strikeout for Cueto. 0-0 after 3. 4 punch-outs in an inning. That was the second inning. And ball 1 to Todd Frazier. We're underway in the 4th. Those are the only 4 of the day, all coming in that second. That's high. 2-1. On the ground, right to Castro. The 28th annual Cubs convention will take place at the Sheraton Chicago Hotel and Towers, January 18th, 19th, and 20th, 2013. Rooms are available now by calling the Sheraton at 800-233-4100 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Weekend passes will go on sale at a later date. For more info, visit Cubs.com. See a comparison between Cueto and Birkin. Cueto a 17-game winner. Birkin just his second start as a Cub. He has matched Cueto pitch for pitch so far. That's in the dirt. 1-1 to Heisey.
I want to thank Al Lardzabal from Chicago, also Violet Dunnigan from Blue Island, Illinois, Victor Dominelli from Chicago, and John and Jan Renault from Asheville, North Carolina, for their nice letters I received this week. Thank you very much.
Also got another note. Retired school teachers Fred Kilcullen and Paul Collins are here today and tomorrow on their semi-annual Cubs outing. First met in 1962. They were freshmen at Eastern Illinois University. Celebrating 50 years of friendship today here at the ballpark. Full count, 3-2 to Heisey. Phipps on deck. Hannigan. If anybody reaches here in the 4th. Back to Birkin. Look what I found. And he'll flip to Rizzo in time.
Nice reaction play that time by Jason Birkin. I do believe that one or both of the Cubs middle infielders probably have a play on that ball if it gets up the middle, but why take the chance? Your first instinct as a pitcher is to make a play on everything. Birkin catches it right in the webbing of the glove. The underhand toss on for the out. We saw Mike Leake. I agreed with you, Len. I think he let one go intentionally last night. Knowing where his middle infielders were positioned, he decided not to try to make a play and possibly deflect it away from his defender. So he intentionally let one similar to that go through last night.
1-0 on Phipps from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. He started late playing baseball. He was a basketball player as a kid, and he just fouled out to Wellington Castillo. A 1-2-3 4th for Birkin. Still 0-0. as always here at Wrigley Field. Big surface in very good shape. Time now for today's AT&T Mobility Question. Name the 5 players in Major League history to hit 30 home runs in a season at least 13 times. Alfonso Soriano last night picked up his 6th 30-homer campaign. Castro, deep center. Phipps back on the warning track. The lead can't get it. In and out of the vines. Castro around second. On his way to third. He's in with a triple. He is only now 2 behind Angel Pagan for the league lead with 12 triples.
Dennis Phipps playing his first game here at Wrigley Field in center, dealing with the sun, the wind, the vines. Just mistimed his jump that time. Looked like he had a beat on it, but just was a little shy about getting back there against the wall. He makes it to third, but boy, do I hate that. Oh, jeez. Fortunately, he wasn't running that slowly during the play itself.
Valbuena cranks one foul. Look out, just behind the tarp. Infield in for the Reds. In a scoreless tie. The sun is out. Wind blowing out to center. And the 0-1. That's a strike. And a backdoor cutter there.
We're talking about those odd conditions last night with cooler temperatures, but the wind blowing straight out. I wonder if we had kind of like a wind shear situation where, like Alfonso Soriano said, the wind was blowing so hard up above the top of the stadium. Maybe some of it was swirling around. Actually, maybe had a downdraft inside the ballpark itself, because we saw some fly balls actually get knocked down with the wind blowing straight out.
There was one very early in the game. Out to left, in fact. Castro's got a hold as Rodriguez throws out Valbuena. Well, Castillo in a similar spot now to the one last night. Runner at third with 1 out. See if he shortens up here and just tries to punch one through the infield. And the Reds still have their infielders in.
Well, that same approach he featured in his first at bat of this game would work fine. That was a nice short quick swing. He got jammed a little bit, but Wellington Castillo strong enough to muscle that ball through a drawn in infield. Short and quick is always better than long and loopy. Baseball's a game, whether it's hitting, playing defense, pitching, it's all about short, quick effort, not long and loopy. A little bit longer that time, at least with his finish. It's not out of the question that Starlin Castro could end up with more triples than home runs this season.
Now is when you really would like to see him shorten up with 2 strikes. And Castro 13 homers, now 12 triples. Shallow left. Paul makes a catch. Castro has to hold again. 2 outs. got Dave Sapelt coming up, the 8-hitter. We'll see what Chris Spire is thinking here, because the pitcher Birkin, very inexperienced hitter, is on deck. And they're going to intentionally walk Sapelt. Oh, you had Chris Spire in your staff, long-time big league coach, been in the game for about 40 years, certainly not overmatched in the dugout, filling in for Dusty Baker. I know he wants Dusty back as soon as possible.
When I got to the ballpark today, as you know, Len, the teams didn't take batting practice after the night game last night, and Dave McKay, Cubs first base coach, and Chris Spire were standing down in front of the Cubs dugout at third base, and I just would love to have been a fly on the wall right there. You've got two guys that have been a couple of the most respected coaches in the game. Both been on some championship teams. Both have made huge differences in the careers of many players, and they were engaged in quite a conversation down there in front of the dugout. Would have loved to have heard that one.
Birkin bounces. It'll be fielded by the shortstop. Nice play. Gregorius showing off his range. And the Cubs waste the leadoff triple by Castro. Still 0-0.
In Major League Baseball history to hit 30 home runs in a season at least 13 times, and no, I missed out. I didn't quite make this list, but it's a darn good list. Hank Aaron 15 times, A-Rod, Barry Bonds both 14 30 homer seasons, and Babe Ruth and Mike Schmidt at 13.
I like Barry Bonds with the old Pirates cap on. I tend to forget that's where he started his career. So Birkin back to work in a 0-0 tie. Well, a lot of times get that leadoff triple, you just assume that run's going to score, and Cubs disappointed they didn't get it. But in the National League, a lot of it depends on where you are in the lineup, and Johnny Cueto, once he got to 2 outs, was able to intentionally walk the 8-hitter Sapelt, and then got the pitcher.
Well, much like that 4-strikeout second inning, took advantage of the bottom of the Reds' order. Did Jason Birkin. Struck out the 7, 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters to get out of that second inning. Yeah, sometimes it just depends where you're at in that opposing lineup.
Fouled off by Hannigan. Hard to believe he didn't get drafted out of high school. Attended Rollins College. He signed with the Reds as an undrafted free agent 10 years ago as he lines out to Barney. The best season ticket option in the city continues to be the PNC Club of Chicago. Tickets in this exclusive club come with added benefits, including VIP parking. Your guests will enjoy an all-inclusive top-shelf bar and gourmet food in a climate-controlled suite with celebrities and former Cubs. For information, contact the Premier sales team at 773-404-4200 or Cubs.com/Premier. Foul tipped by Gregorius. I'm assuming Didi is outgoing, which would make him the gregarious Didi Gregorius. Ooh. LaHare coming in. He will get to the spot. 2 outs.
It's funny how some guys' careers work out, Len. I guarantee you, if you would ask anybody in the Reds organization in Ryan Hannigan's first 6 years as a minor leaguer, is this guy going to be an integral part of one of the best teams you're going to have in Cincinnati in a long time? They would have said absolutely not. He's a non-prospect. But he just kept grinding away. After 6 years in the minor leagues, he finally got a taste of big league play back in 07. Increased playing time each year. He's become a more and more important part not only of the pitching staff, but he's become a better offensive player, situational hitter. And here he is at the age of 31, is going to be the starting catcher going into the postseasons for one of the best pitching staffs in baseball.
I'm sure he would probably tell you he benefited from being a teammate of Ramon Hernandez.
Sure.
Who used to split time with Hannigan. Up the middle, and Barney will get to it. And that's the inning. A quick 1-2-3 for Birkin, who's been very good today.
So just for opting into their mobile club. Text Q1 to 50500 and you'll enjoy Qdoba's famous chips and queso.
No score. Ball one to De Jesus. He's hit the ball hard twice. It is 0 for 2. Cueto's 1-1. Elevated slider or a cutter, and De Jesus with a single in the left.
Finally gets one to drop. Soft line drive through that hole on the left side of the infield for a leadoff base hit here in the 5th. You just don't know how many opportunities you're going to get against Johnny Cueto in a given afternoon. Getting those leadoff men on. Got to find a way to get them around, get them on that plate. Golden opportunity in that 4th inning after the leadoff triple. See if the Cubs can capitalize on this leadoff single.
Side to Barney. He's grounded out both times. Already picked off Castro today. Jesus was running. That's a fair ball as Barney bounces out to Frazier.
Cueto calls his catcher Ryan Hannigan halfway out to the mound to talk over this Anthony Rizzo at bat with a runner in scoring position. Talk a lot about guys who have good control, but all they do is throw the ball over the heart of the plate. Johnny Cueto has good command of all of his pitches and can throw the ball out of the strike zone when he wants to. See if he tries to get Rizzo to chase something bad, and if he walks him, he walks him.
Kind of handcuffed Hannigan. 1 ball, no strikes. Barehanded play by that fan in the upper deck.
Had it all the way. No sweat.
In the dirt. You would struggle to catch now, not that you're not in great shape. But on a pitch like that, you just try to throw it right back to the pitcher, and the umpire every time would have to tell you, Bob, I'm throw that ball out of play. Just a reflex now, isn't it, for a catcher?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it starts in the minor leagues. It starts in college and high school. They've seen it so often up here at the major league level, watching games on TV or coming out to major league parks. It's just an accepted part of the game at every level. We used to have to beg the umpire to check the baseball. He's doing something funny out there, Blue. Please look at the ball. And they have the catcher hand it to him. They look at the ball and hand it right back to the catcher again. Pitcher would continue to carve you up with a variety of cutters and sinkers and sailors and just all kinds of crazy pitches. Good veterans that have a scuff on a ball know what to do with it.
Cairo unassisted. Jesus to third, 2 outs.
Occasionally on our This Day in Baseball History, we'll get a story about a major league game that was played in its entirety with one baseball. You can't even get through an at bat with one baseball anymore.
I would be curious to see the progression in terms of the lifespan of a Major League Baseball.
Well, the beneficiaries are the minor league affiliates, because the balls that get thrown out of the game eventually find their way into the batting practice bin, and once they get beat up a little bit in batting practice, they find their way into a box that is shipped out to the minor league affiliates for them to use. And obviously the sooner balls get thrown out of the game, the better condition they're going to be in when they get to the minor leagues. You know, we come out here early every day, Len, so we see the batting practice basket full of brand new pearls. Shiny white baseballs ready to go for a day's batting practice. Back in the day in the minor leagues, it looked like a basket full of 6 balls from a pool table. You know, they were all green and marked up and dirty, and stitches were busted on some of them, but that's what you hit in the minor leagues back in the day. That's why it was always such a thrill when you finally got to the big leagues and you walk out there for that first day of batting practice and everything was brand new. How cool is that?
Two and one to LaHare. Cubs are 0 for 6 with men in scoring position. The Reds are 0 for 3. Infield pop up. Gregorius will take it, and the inning is over. Cubs strand a runner at third for the 3rd time already today.
Nicknamed Mighty Mouse by his former manager Dusty Baker. It's a nice catch in right center field. Unleashes a strong throw to third baseman. Xavier Paul comes off the bag. Tagged out for a very odd looking double play. Here I come to save the day. I told the story, I believe it was the first game of the series. Dave wasn't quite so sure he wanted to be called Mighty Mouse, but Dusty said, hey, go home and Google it. And when he saw a few of the old cartoons, Mighty Mouse, bullets deflecting off his chest and saving damsels in distress, he decided, it's not all bad.
I'm good with it. Well, so you think about eras. Chappelle didn't know what Mighty Mouse was. When I think of Mighty Mouse, I think of Andy Kaufman's bit. When you think of Mighty Mouse, you think of Mighty Mouse.
The cartoon, yeah. Right. Saturday morning.
Here's a 2-0 to Paul. Off the outside, 3-0. Third time through the order for Birkin. Much better today than he was in his Cub debut against the Pirates.
So would you say his stock is up today?
Yes, the Birkin stock has risen. Ball 4, leadoff walk. Coors Light freeze cam, Jason Birkin with quick reflexes.
Really extending up there above his left shoulder, keeping that ball out of center field, tossing on to first for the easy out. Well, you could see the scuff on that baseball as it was rotating through the air back to Jason Birkin, where the ball splashed in the dirt out there in front of home plate. Big scuff mark on the ball, flashing as it rolled out there toward the mound. Later you get in the ball game, the better chance there is that the managers will try to get involved and create some offense when they get runners on base. The team has had a whole lot of success offensively swinging away against the two starting pitchers today. And we talked about Miguel Cairo in an earlier at bat in this ball game, very adept at handling that bat, hitting the ball to the right side.
One and one. Manny Corpus in the Cubs bullpen. When he's not on the mound, he's got the headphones on. It's in the dugout and the clubhouse. Not during games in the dugout, but before the game. A hit and run and tapped foul by Cairo. Cairo couldn't hold up. That's a strikeout. Number 5 for Birkin.
Big out right there. He just kept leading him farther and farther out of the strike zone with those sliders. That one over in the left-handed batter's box. Cairo could not check. He was looking for something to shoot through that right side, and Birkin just teased him out there off the outside corner.
Rodriguez, wide open stance. Rodriguez signed out of Venezuela in 2007 and making his first big league start today, and he's hitting third. Wide for ball one. Cardinals back on top 5-3 over the Astros as they go for the sweep in St. Louis. They're in the 7th. Cardinals will be here tomorrow afternoon. Chris Carpenter will make his season debut.
Interesting interchange down there at first baseline. Now the ball is in play right now. Timeout has not been called. The ball's live. Billy Hatcher is standing on the field. If Jason Birkin would happen to snap a pickoff throw over there and it would hit the first base coach standing in fair territory, I'm not even sure what the ruling would be. Generally, they don't let coaches cross the white line. You can go out and communicate with your base runner, but normally you don't get to walk into fair territory to do it.
This is De Jesus in center. Well, if you see where the grass is worn out where Dave McKay and a lot of the first base coaches actually stand, it is not in that box.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not uncommon for a coach to walk up in the area where Billy Hatcher just was, out there on the dirt in foul territory, and occasionally even lean over and whisper into a runner's ear. But I recall seeing one actually walk out onto the field of play.
Todd Frazier has more homers than everybody else in the Reds lineup today combined. He has 18. Knocked down by Castillo. Everybody else combined with 11, and 7 of those belong to Chris Heisey. I'm not sure who the runner is right now.
Now, once again, this particular situation, ball in the dirt, time was called to put a new ball into the game, so I guess technically it wasn't a live ball at that moment, but there have been many moments he's been standing out there in the infield when the ball was live.
Fair ball, backhanded by Valbuena. And he'll fire to Rizzo to end the inning. Leadoff walk, but no damage done. Bottom 6, 0-0. You see the National League win leaders. Johnny Cueto currently third behind Gio Gonzalez and R.A. Dickey. Gallardo and Lynn got their 16th victories in their last starts. That's Lynn last night, in fact. Will be caught by Rodriguez. So Castro snaps a streak of 6 consecutive hits as he pops out. Let's see who's pacing the American League. David Price, Jared Weaver with 18, Matt Harrison, Chris Sale each with 17, and Max Scherzer of the Tigers with 16. Ball 1 to Valbuena. One and one on Luis. He has walked and grounded out. Cubs have had better scoring chances than the Reds. Check out the Cubs win leaderboard. Jeff Samardzija tied with Paul Maholm, who's now with the Braves. James Russell in relief with 7 wins. Travis Wood with 6. There's certainly a chance the Cubs will not have a 10-game winner this season. 3-1. Fouled back 3-2. On the ground to Rodriguez. This will be out number 2.
Not so sure Castillo was granted time by Mike Everett behind home plate, but Cueto stopped anyway out there on the mound with nobody on base, no harm, no foul. But had Cueto continued on with his delivery, I think Castillo would have had to jump back in the batter's box and be ready to swing.
Two and 0. Yet again. And a 4-pitch walk to bring up Sepelt. Dave has walked both times, one time intentionally. For a while there, looked like it was going to be a difficult task for the Cubs to avoid losing 100 games for the first time since 1966. Then they got hot during the last road trip, able to split a 4-game series against the Pirates, but dropping the first 2 against the Reds in this series. A win today would help a lot. And Sepelt pops it up. Rodriguez makes a catch. Cubs need to go 5 and 8 to avoid 100. Scoreless after 6.
Captain Morgan Club post-game party featuring great music and Wrigley's friendliest staff. For more information, including specials and private party options, call 773-404-4750.
Manny Corpus in for Jason Birkin, who was really good today. 2 hits in 6 innings, walked 2, struck out 5, 4 in 1 inning.
Really did a nice job today. Gave up the leadoff double in the 3rd inning. Was a benefactor of that odd double play when Chappelle threw to 3rd and Xavier Paul slid off the bag, but really good this afternoon.
Quick out here in the 7th. Tonight, don't miss Chicago Tribune Live on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in as the Tribune's Brian Hamilton and Dave Van Dyke, along with Pro Football Weekly's Hub Arkush, join Cap to discuss the day's hottest sports topics and set the table for the night ahead. Chicago Tribune Live, presented by Smirnoff, tonight at 6 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Phipps looking for his first major league hit. A strike call. 0 for 4 in the big leagues with a walk. Up the middle. And the throw's going to be late. And that ball over near the Reds dugout. And Anthony Rizzo, once time is called, can just hand it over to the Reds. First big league hit for Phipps.
Well, congratulations to Dennis Phipps. Congratulations to Darwin Barney. Made the effort. Didn't have much chance of getting the out at first base, but makes the throw anyway. It gets away from Anthony Rizzo. Fortunately for Darwin and the Cubs. Look right there. You could see he had trouble finding a handle as he reached into the glove. The ball was actually in the palm of his hand. He ultimately adjusted it up to his fingertips, but his throw was low and got away. Had Phipps advanced on to second base, I think Darwin would have been hung with an error on that one, but Phipps did not realize the ball had been thrown away.
Now Hannigan with a man on, 1 out. into right center. Chappelle hustling after it. Phipps on his way to third. And the Reds with their best scoring opportunity at the corners with only one out.
Nice job that time by Chappelle to hustle over into the gap in right center and get to this baseball and hold Hannigan at first base with one out in the inning. The double play still in order, even though the Reds have runners at the corners. Good read by Phipps over there at first base. No hesitation as he rounded second, headed on to third base. But as I mentioned, runner on first, chance to possibly turn a double play and get out of this inning.
It's Gregorius. The Cubs would like to turn two here. Valbuena in on the grass at third. Bounced in the right, and the Reds have the lead. Gregorius with his second RBI. And it's 1-0 Cincy.
The Reds finally break through. Hard topspin grounder because Anthony Rizzo was holding Hannigan on first. There's nobody there in the hole between first and second, and the Reds are on the board, and now they dip into that strong bench we talked about earlier.
Joey Votto. Well, a hit for Cueto now has a lead and a chance for his 18th win of the year. Backdoor slider for a strike. 3 ribbies last night for Votto. The first RBIs for him since he came off the disabled list in early September. Into left for a base hit. Hannigan's going to score. And Gregorius to third. Votto halfway between first and second will hold with a pinch hit RBI single. 2-0, and the Reds have 4 consecutive hits. They only had 2 in the first 6 innings.
Well, we talked a lot about situational hitting, or the lack of situational hitting by the Cubs, and here's one of the best hitters in the game that just flips a little single into left field. Take what the pitcher gives you. Didn't try to overpower it, didn't try to do too much with that pitch. Drives home a run and keeps the pressure on the Cubs.
Here comes Chris Bosio. We will see some action. Rafael Dolis grabs a ball in the Cubs bullpen. Mike Leake brought on to pinch run for Votto. Tonight, catch a new edition of the Pat Boyle Podcast. Tune in as Pat sits down with 6-time NBA champ and Hall of Famer Scottie Pippen, along with Bears analyst and 85 Super Bowl champ Tom Thayer. The Pat Boyle Podcast, presented by Mazda, tonight at 11 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. First and third, 2 runs in, and Paul takes a strike. Jose Arredondo up in the visiting bullpen. 0-2. Quick day's work for Votto, coming off the bench, knocking in a run, and then being removed for a pinch runner. Tigers got blown out today 12-4 by the A's. They ran away with it late, a 6-run ninth to put it out of reach. So the A's avoid the sweep.
We talk about the A's remaining schedule and the fact that they have 7 games left with the Texas Rangers. So even though they're trailing in that division by 3.5 games before the Rangers are in action later, still feel they have a legitimate shot to win that division.
Right now 4 ahead of the Angels for the final wild card spot. Season ended today. The A's would be at the Orioles in that wild card round, while the Cardinals would be at Atlanta in the National League. Lined into right and a base hit. Another run in. 5 straight hits. Gregorius scores. It's 3-0.
This Reds team had issues hitting with runners in scoring position over the last week to 10 days, but that's not been the case in this series. They seem to bunch their hits together, producing 3 runs already in this inning with 5 consecutive hits.
Cairo chops one toward third, barehanded by Valbuena. They get the out there, 2 down.
Very nice barehanded play by Luis Valbuena right there. Fortunately, Miguel Cairo doesn't run real well at this stage of his career, and he just has enough time to get him over there at first. Nice scoop. You could see him making the adjustment to get a good grip on that baseball as he made that last step and then threw off balance for the out at first.
Lined off the glove of Castro into the alley. 2 more are in. That's Leake and Paul to score. And Rodriguez with his first 2 career RBIs. 5-0. Rough 7th for Manny Corpus. 6 hits, 5 runs to this point. Not out of it yet. Castro will get Frazier. Captain Morgan's 7th inning stretch with Michael Madsen.
Out to the ball game, actor Michael Madsen.
All right, fans.
Mr. Michael Madsen. Nice to meet you, Michael. Great job with the stretch.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. It's a very great pleasure. I've been to Chicago and haven't been to Wrigley Field since 1974.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it's really nice to be able to come back and do this. I have my wife and my little son with me, my brother-in-law John, and my sister. So got a little family.
So you haven't been here since the Bill Madlock era, 1974.
Yeah.
It doesn't look that much different, does it?
You know what? It looks pretty nice. It's a pretty respectable field. I'd never seen any of those seats before on those rooftops. I know that's all brand new, and that was a good idea. Somebody worked out a good deal with that. Yeah, it's very nice. Everybody should be watching this stuff for nothing.
Adrian Cardenas, a pinch hitter, grounds out.
Have a good crowd.
Beautiful day for baseball. Unfortunately, a rough top of the 7th, but as you say, and as all the 7th inning stretch singers say, let's get some runs.
Let's get some runs. There's still plenty of time.
Yes. So what do you got cooking here?
Me?
You got any projects coming up?
I did the CBS opener of Blue Bloods, the cop show, and I think it's September 28th. It's coming out, and I'm here for the Naperville Film Festival. They're screening 3 pictures I did: Vice, Strength and Honor, and Reservoir Dogs. So it'll be 3 days of that. They're going to show the pictures all day, and they're driving my dad. My dad lives in Oak Lawn. He was a Chicago firefighter, and I haven't seen him in quite some time, and they're going to pick him up and bring him to the theater, which would be really nice.
Very nice.
I look forward to seeing him, too.
That one missed on De Jesus, 1 ball, 1 strike. And your sister Virginia threw out the ceremonial first pitch back in late July.
I heard she kind of took a little run for the home plate and tossed it in.
She made sure she was going to get it there in the air.
It's not a bad idea. I just wanted it to stay airborne. Yeah. I told Jay, I said, listen, I don't know where this damn thing's going, but just catch it, man. No, he snatched it. It was nice. It's a little wide, but it got there.
Well, obviously you had other interests growing up, but did you ever get a chance to play any ball as a kid?
I played right field in high school, and I did a picture called The Natural. I played a right fielder. And, yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful game. I had a lot more fun with it than I did with football, that's for sure. I just wrecked my knees in football. So it's a great sport. These guys are incredible athletes.
Arredondo pitched last night, low and inside, and it's 3-2. You don't mind playing the bad guy, do you?
Well, you know, it's not my favorite thing to do, but you got to pay the bills. I got 6 boys. I got a big mob to take care of, man.
What's the age range of your guys?
23 is the oldest, and my youngest here today with me is 6.
Jesus takes a walk. Now, are they all into sports? I've got an 11-year-old. He kind of likes sports, but he's in the computers and guitar and artsy stuff.
My son Max loves basketball, and my son Calvin, he's a great motocross rider. My son Christian wants to be a film actor, and got a pretty eclectic bunch there. He got a lot of different interests. Hudson is a great basketball player himself, and I don't know what the little guy's going to do.
That's great. They can all find their own path, right? Just encourage them along.
That's all you can do is love them. They sure ain't going to listen, that's for sure. Forget about that ever happening. Oh, if I had only known what was going to happen when we grew up. Good Lord.
Arwin Barney walks one out into left center. It's going to drop. De Jesus on his way to third. Better hurry. Save. He just got in on the head first slide. to be right in that spot, down 5 late. But he made it in.
Wow, this is really cool the way this is wide open like this. I never realized that.
We've got a pretty good view up here.
It's a great view. You see the water.
Very close, and unlike Xavier Paul earlier, DeJesus did not overslide the bag as Chris Spire coming out. He's going to ask for Sean Marshall coming on. Michael Madsen, thanks for stopping by today. We appreciate it. Best of luck to you, okay?
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Come back a little sooner than, let's see, do the math, 2030, okay? It's a Chrysler Call to the Pen. We'll be right back. Marshall make his 69th appearance. Was a starter early on with the Cubs, but once he made that full-time transition to the bullpen, he found his calling.
He became a much more consistent strike thrower. It was an opportunity to really showcase his strengths in short bursts. Been very resilient with his arm. Been a big part of that Reds bullpen this year. And one of our all-time favorites. Yeah. What a good guy.
Cubs have runners at the corners, and ball 1 to Rizzo, who's 1 for 3 with a double. Line shot off the wall in left center. A 1-1. Here's a pitch toward right and through. Cubs on the board as Rizzo grabs his 44th RBI. Also gets Barney over to third, 5-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, pinch hitting for the Cubs, number 12, Alfonso Soriano.
Soriano will bat with 2 on. He hit his 30th homer of the year last night as he hits for Brian LaHare. Reds got 5 in the top of this inning, but the Cubs trying to answer back. Called strike.
Boy, just a titanic home run last night against Mike Leake. He got that one up high enough to get into that jet stream that was blowing out, but I don't think it needed much help. It was way out onto Waveland Avenue.
Chopper to third. 1-2. Inning over. A 5-4-3 double play. Cubs get 1. That's it. It's 5-1 Cincinnati.
Bases and jerseys to autograph bats and photos, Cubs Authentics has the most exclusive Cubs memorabilia. Visit the Wrigley Field Concourse, the Cubs store, or email CubsAuthentic@Cubs.com for all your Cubs memorabilia needs.
Soriano stays in to play left after pinch hitting for LaHare, and here's Rafael Dolis. Reds batted around in the 7th and scored 5 runs. Cubs got 1. So it's 5-1 in the 8th. And a strike on Chris Heisey. Castillo out to talk it over with his pitcher. Rafael recalled on September 4th, his 3rd big league stint this season. He was on the opening day roster. Struck out the side in his last outing. It was Monday night in the 9th inning, which meant it was Tuesday morning. Logan Ondrusek got the win last night, is up.
And Jonathan Broxton saved the first 2 games of this series. He also pitched in the final game of their series against the Marlins. So he's pitched 3 of the last 4, including the last 2 in a row. Not a safe situation right now, but hopefully it will get a little tighter when the Cubs bat in the bottom of the 8th.
That's a leadoff walk. Phipps walking up to the plate. An inning after getting his first major league hit. The home run swing came up short.
Shadows just now extending out in front of home plate a little bit. Not really that much of a factor at this point, but will continue to be a factor for the final couple of innings here.
Remember, Dolis originally signed with the Cubs as a shortstop. Eventually moved to the pitcher's mound. One driven out into center, and Jesus able to cut it off on the bounce. Phipps slides in safely with a double, and the Reds keep their foot on the pedal. Second and third no outs here in the 8th.
Two hits through the first 6 innings of this game, 7 in the last inning plus for the Cincinnati Reds. Somehow Phipps manages to get underneath that sinker and drive it on a line toward the gap in right center field.
First single of his career in the 7th, first double here in the 8th. Infield in. As Hannigan looks at ball 1.
That's more what you expect to see against the Rafael Dolis sinker. Those foul tips just get the very top part of the baseball with that late sinking action in the mid to upper 90s. Not used to seeing people square him up the way Phipps was able to do on that drive to right center.
Experience is certainly something he needs, but you can just avoid some of the walks he's given up this year down the road. He's got a chance to be really good. Stuff is off the charts.
Yeah, no question.
Dale talked about power arms in a bullpen. Like the stockpile guys like this in your bullpen. Back to Dolis. Runners hold. Gregorius with an RBI single.
And normally with 1 out in the inning and runners at second and third already trailing by 4, you might think about an intentional walk to get the pitcher spot up there. But as we told you at the top of the show, a lot of really good bats available off that Reds bench. And right now it's Jay Bruce in the on-deck circle. So Cubs are going to take their chances with Didi Gregorius.
There's a go-ahead RBI hit in the 7th. Foul to right.
You could see Chris Spire talking to pitching coach Brian Price over in that first base dugout. When you're an interim manager, and hopefully Chris Spire won't be the interim manager much longer. Dusty Baker will ideally return to that dugout very shortly. But when you're the interim manager, you really rely heavily on that pitching coach. He knows who's thrown most recently down in that bullpen, who needs a little extra rest, who needs a little extra work. Pitching coach knows the matchups of all the guys he's got available down that bullpen against everybody that the Cubs have coming to the plate in this inning and possibly off the bench. And Chris Spire really glad to have Brian Price sitting right there at his right. Use the Unabomber.
Two fouled back on a high fastball. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Not always easy for a sinker ball pitcher to elevate a fastball when a guy is a poor high fastball hitter, but that time looked like a four-seamer from Dolis. It held its line, stayed up there at the top of the zone, and got the swinging strike. Now you might think about an intentional walk. Load him up for the top of the order and Xavier Paul. Yep, that's what they're going to do.
There was a fan down near the field. Just said to Xavier Paul, are you going to let them do that to you? Hey, Paul, you going to let them disrespect you?
The players in his own dugout are probably yelling the same thing. Don't let them do it to you. I think every player takes a little added motivation when they walk the hitter in front of you, even if it's just a strategic thing and the percentages stay. It's absolutely what you should do. You still take it a little bit personally. They'd rather face me than Jay Bruce. Well, with 2 outs in the inning, it sets up a force play anywhere. And takes the bat out of the hands of a very dangerous hitter in Jay Bruce.
One strike on Paul. It's already up 5-1. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The pitch. Fly to left. Right at Soriano to end the inning. We go to the last of the 8. Cubs trail 5-1 as they try to avoid the sweep.
Cardinals beginning tomorrow through Sunday right here at Wrigley Field. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
Andrusic got the win last night. Looked like he was going to take the loss. Second and third for the Cubs in the 10th. With only 1 out, but he was able to get out of it.
At this rate, the Bat Boys are going to be exhausted. The first 2 pitches both go to the bricks and ricochet back onto the field of play. This one narrowly missing Castro. One pitch away from a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the 8th.
Ball 4.
I don't care how important a part of a bullpen you've been all season, and make no mistake about it, Andrusic has been a big part of this Reds bullpen. When you walk the first hitter on 4 pitches, that's an immediate cause for alarm, and we're going to see some more activity in that Reds bullpen.
Alfredo Simon. 5 straight balls to start the inning. That's a strike. Now 1-2. Drusick is from Texas. Born in Hallettsville, lives in Shiner, Texas. Between Houston and San Antonio. Six to 4 to 3, a double play. Started by Gregorius.
That double play ball, Alfredo Simon's sense of urgency went right out the window. He was cranking it up in a hurry in that bullpen down the right field line, but saw that ground ball to short get turned into 2 outs, and now he's just down there playing catch.
I want to send out happy 38th wedding anniversary wishes to Richard and Beverly Ralph from McHenry, Illinois. Fly to deep left, off the bat of Castillo. Gone! A home run. 5-2. That's his 5th. A Reds fan caught it in the front row.
Castillo, number 5 on the season, came on a low fastball. Nice, easy contact there. Finished through the ball. Got a lot of backspin. Take it home. Take it home.
Yeah. Day at the plate for Castillo. A single, a walk, and a homer. Although he did fly to short left. The runner at third, 1 out in the 4th. It produces a run here in the 8th. Jade Chapman, the rookie righty, with Lester Strode watching.
Just able to check there, and the appeal down to Laz Diaz is denied. Dave Sapelt still alive, and there you go.
So Sapelt with a 2-out single. 3rd time he's been on base. Brett Jackson will pinch hit. Chris Spire will ask for Simon. It is a Chrysler call to the pen. 5-2. A run in, 1 on. We'll be back. right-hander Alfredo Simon trying to get the final out of the 8th. Brusick gave up the home run to Castillo, and then the single to Sapelt. Right before the season started, 2 days before opening day, the Reds claimed Simon from the Orioles on waivers.
Fastball, curveball, slider, split. And any pitcher that features that split finger as part of their arsenal is probably going to uncork their share of wild pitches, and that's the case with Simon. He's thrown 9 this year in just over 56 innings of work.
Jackson without a hit on the homestand, and what's going on here?
Not sure if it's just a coincidence that home plate umpire Mike Everett has the baseball in his hands. Perhaps thinking Simon might be doing something to alter the flight of the baseball, but Neil Swaim apparently satisfied with the explanation from the home plate umpire, and we'll play on.
One and two. David DeJesus on deck. Jackson has struck out in exactly half of his at-bats so far in the big leagues. 53 strikeouts, 106 at-bats. He swings and misses, number 54 on the year. And Simon does get out of it. It's 5-2 Reds as we go to the ninth.
I think Brett Jackson saying it hit him on the back foot. Now, it was a glancing blow. It didn't catch him flush, obviously, but right there, Brett goes down and actually shows the spot on the shoe where he says the ball hit him. Maybe Mike Everett was looking for some polish on the ball. Just a glancing blow off the top of that left foot, but Brett Jackson was ready to go down to first base. Mike Everett says, wait just a minute.
Rookie Jay Chapman Here in the ninth, Cubs trail 5-2. The pitch to Miguel Cairo. It is a fastball in a perfect spot. Cardinals trying to close out the Astros today, leading 5-4 in the ninth. They'll pack up and head to Chicago for the weekend. We'll have game 1 tomorrow here on CSN.
Well, it's a big game for the Cardinals for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, still battling that wild card spot in the National League, but a chance to see their ace Chris Carpenter take the mound.
Against Chris Volstad, Adam Wainwright, and Travis Wood on Saturday afternoon. Again, 12:05 for the first pitch, and all of a sudden Kyle Loesch very much in the Cy Young discussion. 15-3 with a 271 as he'll oppose Justin Germano.
Haven't heard yet if Chris Carpenter's on any kind of a pitch limit.
What I saw was his sim game. He threw 95 pitches and he would be under an undisclosed pitch count. So yes, there is a pitch count, but the Cardinals are not going to tell us.
In a simulated game, obviously much different circumstances than a real major league game. A very controlled situation. If he gets to an inning where he's thrown a lot of pitches, you can just say that's it, end of the inning, come on in and sit down. But if he's thrown 95 in a sim game, if he's efficient with his pitches, you have to believe that 6-7 innings not out of the question. And the Cardinals, like every other major league team at this time of year, have a fully loaded, well-stocked bullpen.
Foul tip, strike 3. Rodriguez knocked in a couple in the 7th with a double. Changeup is outside. I suppose since we are outside, that every pitch will be outside. You want to get literal. Two and 0.
Baseball doesn't lend itself well to literal translations.
That's true.
Talk about a hitter shortening up as if to bunt. He doesn't actually get shorter. Shortens up his grip on the bat.
Down by Barney. It is over in St. Louis. The Cardinals a winner. Their 4th in a row, and they hand the Astros their 102nd loss. Boy, and the Pirates down again 4-0 at home against Milwaukee in the 3rd inning. If they don't come back, they're going to be under 500. They are not even on that wild card list. Can you believe it?
Trying to remember the exact date. I believe it was July 28th. As of July 28th, there were only 2 teams in the National League that had a better record than the Pirates. Since then, only the Astros have lost more games.
Can't believe it's happened 2 years in a row. No play for Rizzo.
Nice play by that young man, though. Basket catch right in the aisle. That up, baby. Give it to it. Nah, go ahead and keep it.
Looks like a young Jake Peavy with a Cubs uniform on. High in the air, well hit, but Sapelt appears to have room right on the edge of the dirt. Chapman goes 1, 2, 3. And we go to the bottom of the ninth. Last opportunity now for the home team, down 5-2. The rival Redbirds here at Wrigley. Coverage begins at 12:30 with Subaru Cubs pregame live. Cubs and Cards tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Final off day will be Monday, and then we're off to the National League West. And the Cubs are 0-13 on the road against the West. Got to change that.
No doubt about it.
Simon still in. He got the final out of the 8th on a strikeout of Brett Jackson. If he finishes, it would be his first save as a Red. He had 17 back in 2010 with the Orioles. If kids still play, Simon Says.
I'm sure they do.
Big basic game. You're told to do something, but you're only supposed to do it if you say Simon Says. Simon Says, raise your right arm. Turn your head to the left. If you do that, you're out.
You're out. Didn't say Simon Says. I wonder if Alfredo's ever played Simon Says.
You have Simple Simon Says by the 1910 Fruit Gum Company on your iPod?
I don't recall. I don't think I have.
Simon Says.
No, I don't have that.
Bubblegum pop from the 60s. 3-2.
This is another one of those games, Len, where it's only a 3-run ball game. There you go.
Base hit in the left.
Yeah, get the leadoff man on. At the top of the batting order here, you never know what might happen. David DeJesus with his second single into left field in the ball game today.
The 0-1. The hand and then the mask of Ryan Hannigan.
Tells Mike Everett he's all right. Boy, got his hand wide open too. He's lucky not to get a broken finger on that one. Catchers are taught normally to lay your thumb inside the palm of your hand and very gently close your fingers over the thumb. You don't want to make a fist and you don't want to expose that thumb, but that time Hannigan with his hand wide open, just dangling there in front of the right shin guard. He's lucky he didn't break his hand.
Punched into right, base hit, and the tying run will come up. And it's Anthony Rizzo.
Slashing floater down that right field line by Darwin Barney. Real good read that time by David DeJesus. He realized nobody was going to get to that ball. Motors around to third. Boy, this is why Alfonso Soriano stayed in the ball game after pinch hitting back in the 7th inning. Bill Swain was hoping against hope that his spot in the lineup would roll back around again, and he's due to hit after Anthony Rizzo.
J.J. Hoover is going to get ready.
Rally hat time.
That's a strike. "5-2 Reds," but the Cubs have the tying run at the plate with nobody out. Got their top home run hitters all due up. Rizzo, Soriano, and then Castro. They'll get one, but not the other. So DeJesus scores 5-3. And with Rizzo beating out that double play ball, that'll keep that tying run at the plate instead of on deck.
Very slowly hit ball to second base. Kind of a risky attempt there by Gregorius as he jumps to avoid Darwin Barney and throws all in the same motion. Very awkward off balance throw, but Rizzo beats it out at first to keep the inning alive.
Swing and a miss. 0-1. It's Tony Cingrani, a left-hander on the right. Not seen him in this series. He's from the Chicago area, born in Evergreen Park. Simon ready. 1-1. Now 1-2. Got him. And with a breaking ball, Cubs down to their final chance. 2 outs.
Well, Sponzi got one good pitch to hit that at bat. Simon starts with 2 breaking balls just off of that outside corner. This is the one. Oops.
We missed the hittable one.
Yeah, we missed the hittable one. The 91-mile-per-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate. Had a good cut at it, but fouled it straight back, and then Simon comes right back to that breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 3.
Single, triple, pop out, walk for Castro. As he paints a fastball on the outside corner. 0-1. Rizzo at first, 2 outs, 5-3 Reds in the 9th. You be the umpire at home.
There's a few umpires in that first base dugout. I don't think they agreed with Mike Everett or the first base umpire Laz Diaz that time. There's another hard breaking ball. Tried to overthrow that one a little bit, left it up high.
Cairo playing, as you see in the background, behind the runner Rizzo. His run doesn't matter. It's the guy at the plate, the key guy. A tying run. Tapper foul. 2-2 now. Final game of this season series. It has been dominated by the Reds. They have won 11 of 15, including 7 of 9 at Wrigley Field. Two breaking ball. Fly ball center field. This will do it. Phipps with the catch, and the Reds engineer the 3-game sweep. They did it the final 2 days without their manager, Dusty Baker. Hospitalized here in Chicago, feeling better today after dealing with an irregular heartbeat And we certainly hope Dusty's back with the Reds tomorrow night. In terms of the Cubs, they've now lost 4 in a row as they welcome in the hot Cardinals coming off a sweep. And time now for our GMC player of the game. We're going to give it to the rookie, Dennis Phipps, his first 2 big league hits.
It would be easy to give it to Johnny Cueto again. He's pitched well against the Cubs all season long, but Dennis Phipps with a big game here at Wrigley in his first start in the friendly confines.
Speaking of Cueto, he gets his 18th win of the year and is 4-0 against the Cubs. So for Bob and our entire crew, Len Casper saying so long from Wrigley. Final today, Reds 5, Cubs 3. We're back with you tomorrow, 12:30 for the pregame as Chris Carpenter and the Cardinals come to town. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. You've been watching Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, now part of the NBC.